Hello and welcome to Teacher Needs a Drink podcast. I am Elvis, your host, and I'm here to let you know that this is a not safe for work podcast. We are teachers at the end of the week and really the end of our ropes, and we'd like to be able to talk honestly and openly about education without having to worry about losing our jobs. Because even though they stress us out, we do like to get paid. So, there's that. But I'd like to say thank you and all that to all of our Patreon patrons who help support Teacher Needs a Drink. That's right, for as little as $5 a month, you can support Teacher Needs a Drink on Patreon and get access to over 100 different pieces of exclusive audio content. There's some new stuff that just went up there a couple days ago, and it's just phenomenal. It's funny. If you like it, there's interviews with hosts old and new. There's stuff dating back for a few years. It is great. Go check it out. And also, if you sign up for Patreon, you get to have your name read like these beautiful people: William P., Justin M., Jessica C., Inga, Kaylee, Terry J., Tracy B., Miss Wonderstats, Quentin P., Ekabex, Mistress Mischief, Natasha S., Miss Anthropy, Princess Buttercup, Dragon Lady, Helena C., Aaron B., Stephanie X., Texas Teacher Kristen, James Nally J., Samantha D., Lisa C., Rachel, Jen Jeannie, Exhaustive Band Director, Kimberly K., Jessica A., Swivel Love Owners, Amanda F., Ariana L., Physics Runner, Steph, Michael M., Aldrich T., La Scorpionita, Britt M., Teresa H., Biker Teach, Christina B., Jason F., Abby B., Sarah B., Regina N., Josie S., Sam B., Mary E., Kristen W., Vanessa J., Mary C., RJR, Kristen C., Johanna H., Irma A., Nimi, and Sarah N. Hooray! Also, if you can, check out our sponsor, Lud Lamb Dramatics. If you are a theater teacher or no one in your building, go to ludlamdramatics.com and you can get all kinds of resources to help out your classroom. All right, folks, I have had a crazy couple of weeks. I just got back from having to be out of town for a few days, and I am exhausted, but I'm back. Classes are going pretty smoothly for me. Things are getting together. I am just physically exhausted. I'm sure none of you know what that's like. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this episode. It's a little bit shorter, but episode number 200 is coming out very, very soon next week, and be prepared for something a little bit more with that. All right, my friends, enjoy episode 199! We will get this going. What do we have?
Balls, 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 balls.
Which one's that? Oh! Wonderwall? No.
Yeah.
Is that Wonderwall? No, that's the other Oasis. Today was gonna be... Or is that Wonderwall?
Because after all, you're my...
Yeah, it is. You're right. Okay. Well, I'll cut out me questioning Bunny, because that doesn't need to be in the podcast. Well, welcome to Teacher Needs a Drink podcast. I am Elvis, your host, and today I am joined by Miss Bunny O'Hare.
Hey, Elvis. Hey, folks.
Hey, and also with us today, I gave him time to swallow the bite of food, Mr. Count Chocolate.
My people, chocolate for everyone. Hello.
Woo, I am glad you guys are here. We're sitting around my table and munching and having drinks and catching up, and we tell half our stories off the podcast, then we have to revise them and make sure they're appropriate to tell on the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, as I burp. Ooh, it's a date. I have to edit this episode, apparently. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start today with a story from the Reddits. This is from user Almond Croissant, and it's titled, High School Student Who Doesn't Know Letters. This is my second year teaching 9th grade biology, and I have a student with a 1-to-1 para. No big deal, I had several last year and it was fine. But this student doesn't know his letters or numbers, does not know how to type, and is occasionally nonverbal. His para keeps asking me how to modify things for him, but I don't know. We also don't have his IEP from his previous school yet. Last year's paras would ask questions, but mostly they knew how to modify things for students. I asked each student to write me a short letter about themselves as an introduction. The para asked me what she should do for this student. I suggested that he dictate the letter to her. She said that won't work. Well, what about him having just draw pictures? Not that either. How about speech to text or voice recording? She said no to that too. She seems nice, just unsure and inexperienced. She also answers questions that I ask in class, which is annoying, but that's not the problem right now. Oh, I've had that person. I already have alternate versions of every assignment for ELLs and students with learning disabilities. Easier reading passages, more scaffolding questions. But how do you make assignments for a kid who has no reliable way to respond? And how much of that is the para's responsibility? We do have a science class for students with more intense needs, and I'm wondering if he will be moved there. But for the time being, I need to figure out how to teach him biology in a class with 30 other kids. extended thing. I have talked to the student's case manager and what little information I have from him, but he doesn't know much either. I don't know how the student got a para before we got his IEP either. The student is able to understand and respond in words or gestures to basic prompts like, how are you, and which color folder would you like, and raise your hand if you would like me to play music. But that's about it. So, friends, what do you guys think? How do you deal with the student? Because I know it's a blessing when you have a para who really can handle it, but generally you will have to do some modifications too. But when you have the IEP, it'll say, okay, this student can use text-to-speech on their iPad, or they can do whatever. They can have someone who writes it down for them. They can have a scribe in there. But if there's nothing and they somehow manage to get a para, I wonder what issues they had that the parents were able to get a para on board so early in the years. But Bunny, count?
This is baffling because, like, my first thought was go to the case manager, the student's SPED case manager, and ask, what, if they have any more information about what to expect that this student is or is not capable of. I mean, I know it's hard before you have the IEP or if they haven't had an ARD meeting yet, but yeah, I would also be asking the case manager, like, what can I expect from the paras in terms of help for this student, because it does vary from kid to kid, but I'm kind of confused as to why this person is with this student if they're not assisting with anything. Yeah. And like not trying to get anybody in trouble or anything, but just like, I need to know where the boundaries are so that I can play within them. Maybe something like if there's a tablet that you could do like a choice board or something, like have the student point to things like a picture board on an iPad or something to answer questions, or I mean, like if drawing or writing isn't an option, can they point, this or that kind of thing. I don't know. I would go talk to the SPED, like the head of SPED for your campus or your district and say, hey, I want to be able to serve this student to the best of my ability, but I'm at a loss, help me out here.
Yeah, I think the thing that I struggle with this one is there's a lot of information I feel is missing that I need. When the para says no, is this because the para is unwilling or doesn't want to write this down or doesn't want to dictate? Yeah. Or is this because the student is refusing to use these tools or is nonverbal and won't talk? Yeah. And without that information, like part of me, when you said that the para answers the questions that you ask the kids in class, well, maybe this is an inexperienced para, because I've had student teachers, I've had other people in class, I'm asking the students a question to gauge their information, not the parent in the back who's sitting in like, oh, I can tell you about the Alamo. No, I'm sure you can. That's great. These are the kids who need to learn, though. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of missing info. Count, what are you thinking? From the counseling side of this.
I rarely say this, but I feel like you really have to lower your expectation of what you can do for this student. I feel like, as you indicated in the reading, or in what you wrote, that they may get moved to like an alternate type of a classroom, a little bit more intensive, simply because they can't expect you to be able to facilitate learning with the student, and there's no way to accurately assess or have them respond in a way that indicates that they understand or they're comprehending. And I'm sure they can or they do, but that in your classroom, like you said, with 30 students, even if there is an aide or a SPED para in there with you, that is going to require a lot more hands-on than what you can actually do in a class of 30 students. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised once paperwork arrives, hopefully within the next week, if it shows that, oh, yeah, we need to change some of this because there's some additional supports that are going to be needed, and I don't think that's going to be feasible in a gen ed or even a modified classroom setting. I just can't see that happening. But kudos to you for reaching out and trying to find whatever creative lanes you can to help foster some kind of learning and growth with the student. And hopefully we see some really good results over time with this one, but I just don't see them coming from your class simply because of the setup and what apparently is going to be needed to serve this student.
I would almost feel that until this IEP does come in, as long as the student is not disruptive, and you have discussed with the SPED coach about the para situation, what they can do or can't do, you might just have to let the student just kind of be in the classroom for a little bit. And honestly, if it takes more than a week or two to get this IEP, you do need to speak up and make sure the student gets their needs, because no student needs to be left behind, but they do need to make sure we have the modifications and that so they could learn something, or at least to the best of their abilities. Because everyone deserves an education, no matter what they are. But like Count said, sometimes you just have to set your expectations where they appropriately belong. Sometimes they need to be higher, sometimes they need to be lower, but it's always for the benefit of the child. Mm-hmm. Hey guys, guess what?
What's up?
What?
We have a Patreon!
That sounds amazing!
It is beautiful. For as little as $5 a month, you can sign up for our Patreon and get all kinds of access to extra bonus episodes of Teacher Needs a Drink. We have interviews with the host, we have hidden episodes, lost episodes, we have some of the very first ones. We're about to hit 200, so there's a lot. So the fact that we have over 100 bonus episodes, and we've almost done that's almost 300 hours of Teacher Needs a Drink you can listen to. Maybe not 300 hours, because most of them are half hour. But forget about that. That's almost 300 episodes of content you can hear. Anyway, you can sign up through Spotify now, and it's amazing. So sign up and do it now! Woohoo! Yay! All right, my friends. Would you rather show up to every job interview smelling like marijuana, or toast your own hand in the toaster? I'm assuming one of these is every time and one of these is a one-time thing, but would you rather show up to every job interview smelling like marijuana or toast your own hand in the toaster? Bunny?
I'm gonna have to go with the marijuana smell.
Yeah, we knew you would.
Like, I don't know, burns are... Yeah, no, I will deal with the humiliation rather than...
You're not going to be Michael Scott and stepping in your toaster because you like fresh bacon every morning? Or...
Yeah, no, hard no.
What about you, Count?
I'm going to show I'm going to kick all my alcohol cans.
We sound like the dollar movie theater in here. Just cans of bottles rolling down the aisles.
I'm going to show up to every interview smelling like marijuana. And I'm looking for a lovely bunny loophole, and I'm just hoping that most of these interviews can be online or via whatever, via Zoom. And I'm working from home. I don't see that. I don't know. I could say how long do I have to toast my hand for, but I don't want to burn my hand. I like my hands. So I'm just gonna have. You're just gonna. I hope you've got a sinus infection that day we have that and you can't smell a damn thing, because I'm going to come in there smelling like the best weed. I hope you ask me where I got it from. It smells that great. But
Count, you're skunky. Where'd you go? That's really dank today, Count. Because I was thinking, well, for educational interviews, that's definitely a downside. But however, I did know some California teachers who had their California medical card for anxiety. And part of their medical doctor prescription was to have some THC in low dose so they could have their gummies in their purse at school or pop one before. And if anyone asked, here's my card, here's my doctor's note. And I'm like, well, there are teachers who take even worse stuff that meant alter your mind even more that they prescribe here. Anyway.
Preach.
But I'm thinking THC isn't the worst thing in the world. I'm an advocate. I have my medical card. And I have 2 medical cards from different states. They're beautiful and legitimate. And the best thing about it is, well, I don't have to smell. But I think I've also thought about leaving teaching a lot. And there's a lot of communities where they just don't care as much. Where as long as you're proficient at your job and you can do what you do, they don't really care what you... Well, they do care what you smell like, but they'll put you in the back with the other trolls. It'll be fine. I don't know. Maybe if I'm going to go work for like a dispensary or something... I wouldn't mind, but I don't think I want to do that, so I'm going to toast my hand in the toaster. But here's my... just listen.
Girl.
I got this toaster over here. I got it after I was divorced, so it's about 6-7 years old at this point. And it's a good Costco toaster. It was a good $14.99 or something 6 years ago. And it has this bagel setting that magically makes the toaster worthless. If you hit this bagel setting, even with the bagel, you got a cold-ass bagel coming out in a little bit. And I try, like, every so often I'll forget about the bagel button because we don't use it, but we got a bunch of bagels this weekend and it was toasting. I was like, I'll use the bagel button. My daughter was like, don't do it, Dad. I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I hit it. She's like, the bagel's cold. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'll toast it properly. So I know if I gotta put my hand in there for the 2 minutes, it's on bagel mode. I might have some scabs, but it's a one-time thing, and I will get all the jobs because I smell fresh and clean. Dun, 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 dun. Fresh and clean, fresh and clean. All right, folks. Well, thank you for joining another episode of Teacher Needs a Drink podcast. I thank my hosts who are with me today. Big thank you to you, Sir Count.
Oh, I am just so glad to be here, Elvis. Thank you for... Oh, gosh, let's try that again. Oh, I'm so glad to be here, Elvis. Thank you for including me.
I'm glad you're here, too. And Ms. Bunny, I'm glad you were here as well.
And thank you for having me back again. It was a pleasure, as always.
As always. All right, friends, everyone out there, take care of yourselves and your mental health. Therapy is usually included in counseling as part of educational health insurance, so use that. Make sure you're using your health insurance, get the benefits, and take care of your brain, because we need you around no matter what. All right, friends, everyone out there, deep drinks, deep breaths, deep drinks. Cheers! Woohoo! Yay!
Cheers!
All right, my friends, thanks for listening to another episode of Teacher Needs a Drink podcast. Be sure, if you can, to take a chance to go check out our Patreon. We just have a new exclusive that just got released not too long ago. And also, there's more stuff coming our way. Check out our sponsor, Ludlam Dramatics. And of course, the thing I'm most excited about, our 200th episode is coming out next week. And I am very excited. It's a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. And we'll share it all with you guys when you get there. So take care of yourselves and cheers, everybody!